question is, okay, so let's say we have a source of a wave. We could say it's a water spider on a pond creating rings, concentric circles. We could say a source of sound creating concentric spheres, sound waves going out. Good with that? Okay, so the question today is, what happens if you get the source of sound moving? Or sorry, source of any wave moving. It doesn't have to be sound. Here's what it looks like. Where if you're standing in the front of this wave, you get a, versus if you're standing behind the source, you're getting a. So how would you describe the difference between what the two observers are experiencing? The one in front as the source of the wave is approaching them versus the observer who's behind the source as the source goes away from them. What was the difference in my clapping? The clapping of the person behind the object as the object went away was slower. Another way to say that was less frequent. Okay, so the person that experiences that is in front of as the source of the wave approaches them, they experience a higher frequency. If we're talking about sound waves, what do we perceive? What do we hear when it's a higher frequency? A higher pitch. Okay. Versus if the source of the wave is going away from the observer, you experience a lower frequency. If this was sound waves, you would hear a what? Lower pitch. Good with that? Okay, this is what's known as the Doppler effect. So here is one example of a Doppler effect. Okay. What Doppler effect is the change in pitch. It is not the change in volume. It's an annoying, loud lesson today. The fact that it's getting louder is a consequence of intensity due to the close proximity, your distance away from the object. It's like, how are you spreading the spoonful of jelly? Is it over a cracker or a piece of bread? Or, okay, that's distance. That is not what Doppler effect. Doppler effect is looking at the frequency or the pitch. Okay, it's up here and it drops. That's the Doppler effect. You good with that? Mega. Nope. The closer you are, results in higher intensity, which is louder, but that's not the Doppler effect. Okay. The Doppler effect is as the source is approaching you, the frequency is higher. Sound waves hit you more frequently. And as it goes away from you, sound waves hit you less frequent, so you hear a lower pitch. Carter. Excellent question. That's coming in a little more than 5 minutes. Okay. All right. If you can keep rhythm, if you can keep a beat, check this out. This is isn't that crazy? So not only does the pitch decrease, the tempo also decreases. Why? So let's pretend that siren note switches every other wave. Okay, here it's switching, boom, 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 boom. Here, boom, boom, boom. So if you listen to a car drive past that has radio up, listen. Not only will you hear a decrease in pitch, you'll also the music will slow down as well. Wild. Okay. All right. So this is gonna be fun. I've never tried this with this. Okay. Use your ears, stay facing forward, keep looking towards the board, and listen. Just listen. Do you hear it?
Yeah. You say keep facing forward.
I think it's way safer that you're like facing away from me than facing towards me. Not this year. Oh yes, I did. I got Teddy. No, I got Teddy in the back. All right. So, do you want to try it this way? I don't know, like second. So now you know it's coming. Like I could hit you. They do curve. That's a good one, man.
I'm waiting for something like all yours.
Do you hear it? Did it like? Okay. Good times. All right. Tell your neighbor. Thank you.
I love that video.
Yes, sir.
Can you just take it next to your next?
Say what?
Can you just take it next to your next?
Yeah, that'll be fine. All right, correct answer is
There's something on your
what?
It's gonna die. There's a box that popped up on your computer. That's on the desk. On the filling one.
Oh.
Ah, there we go.
Good call. About to die. Bless you. Anybody see a lone Nerf dart bullet? I'm missing one. All right, correct answer is bouncing buffaloes. Okay, it does get louder, but that is not a consequence of Doppler effect. Okay, Doppler effect just looks at the frequency of the pitch. Okay. Everybody go to a C. Tell your neighbor. To what?
So if the loudness isn't the Doppler effect, is that just like what you're talking about the other day? It's just
Yeah, that's intensity. That's like how thick the jelly is.
I like
Correct answer is B. Okay, so this is why Indy 500 cars sound the way they do. Right? Okay, so give it to me. Oh, shoot. Looking for my bullet.
You're missing one?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Got it. It's worth it. Tell your neighbor, what do you think?
Don't look. I already have like 5 of them. Dude, have PTSD embedded in me for my
Okay, what do you say? Is the pitch higher or lower? Higher or lower? What do you think? Is the pitch, the tone, higher or lower? Lower. So that means what about the Doppler effect? It's going away. Source is moving away. Was the pitch fixed? at a lower thing, or was it continually decreasing? Continually decreasing. So what does that mean as a consequence of? It's speeding up. Why is it speeding up? Hang on. I know where your brain's going. Because it's in free fall. Okay? So we all have recordings from the plane's point of view, but what about from the receiver's point of view? I don't have a recording of that.
Well, why not? Yeah, just reverse it.
Tell your neighbor.
I feel like that's scarier.
Correct answer is C. Getting closer and getting faster. So which do you think would be more traumatic in terms of psychological warfare? Or the get it that? Okay, so C is the right answer. So Carter, here's your question. So we've been talking about the fact that the source of the wave is moving and the observer is standing still and passes you. What happens if the observer is moving but the source is standing still? Have a conversation.
Don't say it's secret. I've decided it all. It is.
Okay, here we go. Here's the source, here's the observer. Ready? That was bad clapping. Let's try that again. So, Doppler effect does happen. Okay. Here is a video of that. Have you seen this guy?
But what if it's reversed and the car is stationary and the person is moving? Great question, Bobby. That actually causes the same Doppler effect. If the sound source is stationary and the observer is moving, as the observer moves toward the stationary sound source, the observed wavelength is still decreased, and therefore the observed frequency is still increased. And the reverse is true as the observer moves away from the stationary sound source.
Okay. So, next time you are driving by a construction zone, roll your windows down and listen. So, especially like it's really apparent when you get someone reversing and an equipment like beep, 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 or jackhammer or anything, just physics. It's all around you. Okay. All right. So, what would happen if we traveled? So here's like 0.36. What would happen if we traveled faster than that? See how the effect would be more like, and then afterwards it's like, good at that. All right, so then what happens if we go the same speed as the wave? So what's going on is the source is keeping up with the waves that have been created in the past. And you get this overlapping wave front. So you have waves that are overlapping or interfering, or, I mean, and specifically constructively interfering. So you get this big wave front. Okay. What happens if you go faster than the speed of the wave? Then what happens is you surpass the waves that you've created in the past. But, right. But here, these waves are still overlapping. And you still get constructive interference. Okay. Now, if you've ever been boating and you come up to the marina, what are the signs posted as you approach the marina? Slow down. What? No wake zone. Okay. That means you have to slow down so you don't make a wake. Specifically, what that should say, well, I mean, it could say is slow down so it's slower than the speed of the water wave. When the boats go fast, they go faster than the speed of a water wave and create a wake. This is the wake from a boat. Does that make sense? Okay. So when you slow down for no wake zone, these, like, the wake's the big wave, right? Like, there's a lot of constructive interference there. It's a good way to visualize it. Okay. So when you go into no wake zone, what they want you to do is travel slower than the speed of a water wave. So you don't create this big constructive interference wave. You all right with that? What happens to the wake if you go faster? The wake becomes more narrow, like the V it makes, because you're passing the previous water waves faster. You good with that? Okay. Now, we've talked about water waves. What about sound waves? What things travel faster than the speed of sound? A very popular example is a jet. Okay. So, several points to make on this one. First off, I used to see pictures of like this when I was in like middle school, high school. Someone trying to get in. Hey, come on.
What other hallway?
Does anybody have a water bottle they're okay donating in science? You'll never get it back. Like, I'm going to crush it. Just a plastic water bottle. Anybody? Just like anybody?
Candace got one.
Are you okay, me? You want to drink any more of that? Are you sure? I'm sorry. You good? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I used to think seeing that cloud was like, oh, you're breaking the sound barrier. I used to, well, okay. So we've all seen this trick before. Okay. Now, we know what's going to happen to the cap. I'm not worried about the cap. Okay. Watch the bottom. Ready? Look. You see the cloud? Okay. So, thank you, Camden. Anytime air that has any type of water, like humidity, water vapor in it, goes from high pressure to low pressure quickly, it causes the water vapor in the air to condense and to form a cloud. This is what you see at the trailing a jet in the sky. Okay, it's not smoke, it's not exhaust, it's actually a cloud. And you can see it if you're sitting in a plane over the winglets forming, where they go from high pressure to low pressure, and it forms that cloud there. Okay, so that's what's going on here. I know for a fact that a lot of those videos that you saw is not the jet breaking the sound barrier, because it is illegal for jets to go supersonic over civilian airspace. Okay, back around 9/11, the weeks after that, the Air Force would do routine like surveillance flyovers over major cities, and there was this unidentified aircraft, bless you, over Chicago somewhere. Two fighter jets went supersonic over suburbia of Chicago to intercept this thing. And in doing so, that the wake blew out windows of houses. So all those people standing on the beach, like, oh, look at the jet. Okay. You good with that? Okay. So back in the day, like in the 90s, they had a supersonic jet airliner, like passengers would ride. They'll go across the Atlantic, the Concorde. Okay. One of them blew up, and so that kind of killed that program. But this is a recording from a ship in the Atlantic. Notice how loud this is compared to how far away the jet is. Oh, why did I do that? Boogers. Hold on. Wait for it. Yeah. Hold on. Doggone. Okay. Now, this is the wake that a jet creates. It's not a V, two-dimensional. It's a cone. It's a sound wave. Okay? So if you're standing here, you don't hear anything yet. If you're standing here, that's the boom. If you're standing here, you've already heard the boom and you're picking yourself up, going, whoa, that's crazy. Okay? This boom continues, just like the wake of a boat, bless you, continues. Okay? If you're standing on the shore, you get splashed here. Here, you see the boat pass, you're waiting for the water, the wake to reach the shore. Okay? Quick disclaimer on this one. If you see a jet in the sky, and you're like, wow, it's going faster than the speed of sound because I don't hear it. No, that's just you being really far away and light traveling faster than the speed of sound, so you see it before you hear it. Get with that? Okay. But the shock wave, this wake continues to go. It's not just when you break the sound barrier. It's just a continual experience. Okay. So, this is why jets don't fly supersonic over like helping the Army or the Marines out, because it would like knock everybody out. It's like as they go over. But they're working on having a jet that has a low profile, that has a low sonic boom, that won't knock people over. So it can help like with fights and stuff. Like if you think of different ships have different wake sizes. Like the bigger the boat, the more water they're pushing out, the bigger the wake they create. Like a jet ski doesn't create much of a wake at all. It doesn't push much water out of the way. Does that make sense? So they're trying to create like a jet ski type airplane that can go faster than the speed of sound without doing crazy damage. So, go to that. In an explosion, the thing that causes the damage, well, there's two things. One's the fire. Most people are good with that. But the second thing is the shock wave, which is exactly the same thing as like a sonic boom. So I have a series of explosions here, and you can see the shock wave. Okay, see that ripple? I'll do it again. See that? That's like a super high pressure, super low pressure. Okay. So this next video clip, I'm going to turn off the music because I don't think it really matches the, like, it's like you're killing things. So do you see the ripple in the air here, this bubble? That's the shock wave. That knocks things over. You have a high pressure, low pressure, like the concussion wave sometimes is called. Okay, cool that. So the loudest thing ever documented, I guess, in the history of mankind was a volcano. I think in the, I'm making this up, 1600s, 1800s. We'll say 18. That seems more reasonable. In the Philippines somewhere, and they calculated it. They didn't measure it. They just calculated it based upon observation to be 300 decibels. People in Australia heard it like a shotgun, the sound. And if what? Yeah. And so if you they calculated if you were within 100 miles of that volcano erupting, that would cause you to be deaf or have permanent hearing damage for the rest of your life. 100 mile. Like that's a, okay. So this is not that volcano. This is just a volcano. But you can see the shockwave develop clouds. You see that? Okay. Good at that. So if I've seen videos of people observing explosions, like, oh, look at that. I'm like, something's coming. Like really, and like people like, oh, like just yeah. So now if you see something explode that's like ginormous, take cover. Something's coming. Okay. This would be atomic bomb testing. So you can see the changes in pressure with the smoke and stuff. So you get low pressure and then poof, high pressure, low pressure. Okay. Thank you much. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So we've got cars we've created to go faster than the speed of sound. We drive them not on the road, but on the salt flats in Utah. You can see the sonic boom created. So this is not the vapor cone, the cloud. These are actually like it's condensed enough that it causes light to change. Cool that. Okay. So, what do you think the first man-made device was that went faster than the speed of sound?
A whip. I know this one's a whip.
So I'm not keeping my back.
Yeah, you can turn around for this one. Okay, so a whip is the all right. So
Good Lord.
that pop, that snap, was the edge of the whip going faster than the speed of sound, creating a little sonic boom.
So back to people near
Okay.
the volcano.
Okay, here we go, just for dramatic effect. That was pretty cool, wasn't it? That was good. Oh, that was weak. That was terrible. It was just that was a good one. That was the best one yet. My ears are ringing on that one. Okay, so if you ever take your towel and you whip your younger brother and you get a good crack, that's actually causing the tip of the towel, go faster than the speed of sound, creating a little sonic boom. So it's not smacking. It's not the towel smacking against your brother's skin. It's actually the sonic boom that's creating that pop. Okay. So this This next video is one. This is like a professional whipper. I know, weird. So he can like smack a candle. Probably not enough, or not much. Okay, so they videoed it. They took it in a special camera. See that? All right. See that? That's a little sonic boom. Good with that. So, if you talk to veterans who have been in combat, they'll tell you that you know you've been close to being shot if you hear two booms. One from the bullet going supersonic, going faster than the speed of sound, going by you, creating a little sonic boom. And then you hear a second boom, bang, from the gun going off in the distance. Does that make sense? So, like here, they use the same type of photography to capture the sonic boom of bullets. Okay. This video I showed you last semester, this is of a sniper rifle shooting a target several hundred yards away. But you'll see the like the wake of the sound waves. Did you see that? I'll show it again. Ready? Okay. So if you've ever shot a BB gun or a paintball or anything, not a gun, but if you're looking down the path that it was shot, you can see it. Versus if you're trying to look across it, there's no way you'd be able to track that. But the fact that you're like seeing it as it goes away from you, you're able to see it. Okay. So what these videos are doing, they're just capturing this. This next one, you don't get to see how far away it is, but you can see the little sonic boom trail. Okay, do you see the ripples? That's not wind. That's like a little sonic boom. Good with that? Okay. Last thing that comes up often is when we're talking about Doppler, like, what about Doppler radar? It has the same idea. So the radar works, so like a radar gun works by shooting a certain frequency of radar or electromagnetic wave out. Okay. And when it hits something, it bounces a signal back. If this car was stationary, it'd bounce back the same frequency back to the receiver in the cop's car. And the computer would calculate at rest. If it's moving, it's bouncing back a higher frequency. Does that make sense from the Doppler point of view? Okay. And the computer, the receiver, the sensor can calculate how fast the car is moving based upon what that received frequency is. And you can modify the computer program for someone going away from you easy. Does that make sense? How that's working? So they can use that with weather systems as well. Looking at, see how fast the wind's coming. They're looking for rotation if they have one part that's going towards you and other parts are going away from you. Like, hey, heads up, could be a tornado. Looking for rotation. Good with that? And that is the physics show today. Any questions?